For 2012, 25, tryna spend my Christmas high, feeling good, blessed to be alive. Smoke. For 2012, 25, tryna spend my Christmas high, I'm feeling good, blessed to be alive. Smoke. I usually don't do this here. I'm trying something new this year. My nerves ain't shit, I've been on edge. I'm trying to get through this year. They tell me to calm down, then Zay tell me to calm down. He had me an ounce, some shit I can't even pronounce. My nigga, I am calm now, yeah. Won't you? Light one for 20, light one for minutes. Light one for lavish. My nigga, I am finished. Yeah, for 2012, 25. Tryna spend my Christmas high. Feeling good, blessed to be alive. Smoke. For 2012, 25. Tryna spend my Christmas high. I'm feeling good, blessed to be alive. Smoke. Light one for 20, light one for minutes, light one for lavish. My nigga, I am finished. Yeah, for 2012, 25, tryna spend my Christmas high, feeling good, blessed to be alive. Smoke. For 2012, 25, tryna spend my Christmas high, I'm feeling good, blessed to be alive. Smoke.
Niggas ain't solid no more. Niggas ain't tryna make $1 no more. Same one flexing all hard for the gram. Be the ones to fold when the cops get close. Damn, bitches ain't solid no more. I ain't got time for a gold digging hoe. Same one saying that niggas ain't shit. Be the ones working on baby daddy number 4. Like damn, niggas ain't riding no more. The way I'm wrecking shit and be driving no more. Pedal to the metal, but to push it to the flow. You can call me anything besides a deadbeat and broke. Like damn, leverage Siik. We are Leverage Entertainment.
What up? It's your boy Big 8. Welcome to Put It in the Air podcast. Today we have a special guest, my guy King Siik. Tell him a little bit about you, Siik. What's up with it? Oh, can't hear you. Siik.
My bad.
There we go.
Too busy trying to put it in the earth.
I know that's right. Oh, we finna get off with the rich boy. Just tell them a little bit about you, bro.
I'm out here in Florida right now, man. You know what I'm saying? Doing my thug thizzle. Making it happen. Trying to, give back to the community. You know what I mean? A lot of shit has changed, man, since the last time we actually physically saw each other. Although, we talk often. Right now we're building a school in Dayton, Ohio to bring the skilled trades back to the community. You know what it's like when you get out of that institution, man. It's, trying to find a job to feed your family, to do right, man. You in between a rock and a hard place. Either you're going to pick that bag up or you're going to find you something to do that you could, feed your family with and be straight. And so to prevent more people from having to deal with what me and you had to deal with and others coming out of that place, I decided to come with the Skilled Trade Academy to teach young people the skilled trades. So when they get out of those type of situations, they have something that they can immediately immerse themselves in that's legal, legit.
Real talk. Well, shoot, man. no further ado, man, let's go on and get on with the ritual, man. Oh, man, he jump-started ahead of me. Hold on. This motherfucker don't want to pop for me. I got to get all technical and shit. Uh-oh.
I've been waiting all day.
You been waiting all day?
I've been waiting all day, man.
Not me. I've been blowed all day.
That's because you in Smokelahoma, man, where it's legal at, man. It's kind of legal out here in Florida. It's kind of legal.
Shout out to Ziggy's, man. Hell yeah, I'm in Smokelahoma. That's the only place to be, baby. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I love Florida, though. I ain't gonna cap. Florida is a beautiful place. I would love to move there one day. But I just know it take a different type of budget than it do to live in Oklahoma to live in Florida. So, got to deal with the technicalities first.
Well, the last time I seen you in Florida, what happened the last time I seen you in Florida?
Don't get me lied. Y'all hear some bullshit, y'all.
Are you the guy? That was you. Made that man run through them bushes at the hotel on Del Mabry. I remember you now.
Hey, y'all, don't let him tell y'all these type of stories.
Stadium. Yeah, he did. The man did something he ain't had no business doing. And when it came time to do, he ran through the do.
Hey, man, that's not fair. You know what? On some real stuff, people underestimate people. And they do the craziest things. And it's like when they get your reaction, it's like it's a whole different play. Like, everything be cool, and then they see you turn up, and then it's like, he actually do turn up. Yeah, crazy. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
He got in the wind. We say back home, he got in the wind as soon as he knew it wasn't pretend.
Yeah, for real. I'm talking about, I ain't never seen nobody run through no bush like that since Looney Tunes. Like,
it was hilarious, y'all. Y'all should have been there. Shout out.
Like, he took off running so fast, you would have thought he left smoke behind him. Like, we didn't even see him no more.
You can come back, man. They not looking for you, man. They ain't gonna arrest you, man. He didn't tell.
Shout out to him for not telling. That don't mean he wasn't no scary ass nigga though. We're gonna keep it all the way what it is.
Yeah. Let me see here. Actually, I need to be grabbing this link that you just sent me so I can get my peoples over here while I'm playing.
For sure, man. Everybody join the cast, man. Make sure y'all hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell, man, to keep you up to date on any and everything that we come up with and anything that we do. Also, shout out to Leverage Clothing, man, for the Put It in the Air podcast shirts. If you're interested in getting a Put It in the Air podcast shirt, hit me up at the email in the link. They come fresh, professional. You ain't got to worry about nobody being on warrior shit before. We ain't doing none of that. Just hit me up at the link. Let me know your sizes. They $20 a piece. Shout out to Freddie Tucker, man. He was the first one to buy a Put It in the Air podcast shirt. Damn near cried, bro. I was in awe. I ain't gonna cap. When you create something, oh shit, I gotta cut that off. When you create something from scratch, man, and you see people that you know and that know you and they support what you do, it's a beautiful thing, man. Like,
man, it is.
It's so few and far between in Oklahoma. Like, it's hard to find people that support you in Oklahoma. Not to knock Oklahoma, I'm just telling the truth. You feel me?
It's everywhere now. It's in the air.
Yeah, like a motherfucker.
So, to everybody who's listening on Clubhouse, I put the link in the Telegram chat. So everybody who's in my Telegram, y'all could do that. And for everybody who's watching the podcast, y'all could go to @KingSiik, KINGSIIK. There's a link at the top of my profile. You can click the link in my bio, and you can find my Telegram chat. And you guys can join the Telegram chat. We keep a lot of good information in there. You know, all this stuff going on with COVID-19. We got a lot of good medical information, some medical journals, information about the jab, information about what's going on around the world with the jab, the people who are involved with it, the pharmaceutical companies, you know. Not saying anything about anybody who's taking the jab, but for those who would like to stay informed about what's going on, even if you've taken the jab and you still want to know about what's going on, you know, we definitely, you know, have a lot of information in there, over 1,500 videos, plenty of articles and hella links. So if you want to be more informed about what's going on, just a jab situation with the Omicron, with the lockdowns pending, we've got all the information about what's going on with that. With the election, you know, we covered the election real good. I mean, it's really like black media. You know, we got to have black media.
I ain't gonna lie, man. Just that little bit of the clubhouse that I tapped into, man, I was like extremely impressed. Like the cool thing about your following on Clubhouse is that people actually take time to do the research to have something to talk about versus just jumping in there and saying something random. I think that's a big thing in a lot of this social media stuff because it's easy for a person to get on here and say who, how, woo, who. You know what I'm saying? But when you actually talking about something that could be backed up by facts, you know what I'm saying? And you can have good dialogue with people. It's not a bunch of people getting upset and stuff like that, man. It's a cool environment. I think that's super cool the way you got that clubhouse rolling.
Man, shout out to them, man. Shout out to everybody from We Are the Builders. Shout out to Mo. Shout out to Tay. Shout out to Zaire, Papa, Dale, L. Who else, man? All my peoples, man. Africa, X,
Squad.
Eddie, Stephen, my boy. Man, guess who? Guess who? One of my people is to rock with me, man.
Who is that?
You remember Steps and Sonic? You remember the rap group Steps and Sonic? You remember Steps and Sonic? They old school OG rap group, East Coast cats.
Oh, okay. They tapped in.
Yeah, one of them, one of the lead singers from Steps and Sonic. You know, he rocks with us too, man. Old school cat, got a lot of game, be sharing a lot of knowledge, man. We got a lot of people, man. Man, who did I forget? But it's a lot of people that rock with us who, you know, are about this mission that we about. Well, we'll get to that later though. But yeah, I appreciate that. You know, it's a lot of people who are on that app just to troll and, you know, have them silly conversations. But there are people.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, bro. When you watch, like, they be making TikToks about people doing silly stuff on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
So
it's a whole culture.
Real talk. So dig this, man. I got a question because this is something that I've been touching on here and there on the podcast, but I haven't went too far. The COVID-19 situation.
All right.
So the last thing that I read is that they're trying to deem it unconstitutional, which is something that most people have been saying from the gate. What's your outlook on that?
As far as the constitutionality of it?
Yeah. Which it ain't like we ain't been getting put through unconstitutional stuff anyway for a million gazillion years. But in 2021, well, I guess you could say 2018, 19, when it first sprung.
October 19th, 2019, they did a test called Event 201 where Bill Gates and you know, several other people who are involved in this kind of vaccine industry performed a global test where they essentially, you know, unleashed something into the people. And, you know, they had a test called Event 201. So if you haven't heard about it, you can go Google it, Event 201. You can find out about it. It simply was a test run of COVID in October, right before they actually released it in February or, you know, December.
Dig that. So
it got here in February.
So you got people like, and I hate to keep beating a dead horse, you got Kyrie Irving, who was put in that predicament about him not wanting to take the vaccine. And he got a lot of backlash from it. What's your outlook on that situation with Kyrie Irving?
Well, the thing with Kyrie Irving is that Kyrie Irving has been saying some things for a while now, you know, that have been, you know, he's been talking about indigenous, you know, the story of slavery. You know, he's one of those people that, and I don't disagree, that the story of slavery has been told to us, you know, I don't want to say in reverse, but
it's still being taught to us wrong.
Right, still being taught to us wrong. So, you know, the thing with Kyrie Irving is Kyrie Irving's been saying some things that, you know, are very untraditional, particularly when you start talking about the legacy of the story of what we've been told to be black. You know, he's a person who kind of denounces the blackness, and he chooses to call himself, I believe, Native, Indigenous, Aboriginal, one of those, but a First Nation, essentially. And his people was here before the you know, white man, quote unquote, Cristobal Colon came here, you know. So he's been saying.
Hold on. You said Cristobal Colon one more time. Colon. So what's the correlation with that? Was that what his real name was, or?
Yeah, Christopher Columbus. See, when you think about America and the discovery of America, it's 1492, right? 1492 is also synonymous with, that's when the Moors got expelled from Spain. The Moors were the, Muslim African brothers who were, conquering the world. And before it was called Spain, it was called the Iberian Peninsula. Like,
Okay.
even when we start about King Ferdinand, Queen Isabella, they weren't quote unquote Spanish. They were Castilian. They was Italian. There was no called Spain. It wasn't. It was controlled by two separate groups of black people. Before that, it was Hannibal. You might have heard of Hannibal, the great
Yeah.
black general of Africa, right? Hannibal in the Punic Wars had in what's now Spain, it was called Cartagena. But in Africa, in North Africa, it was called Carthage, or the Carthaginians. You might have heard about them in school.
Yeah, the Carthaginians, yeah.
Right? But we can't draw a picture of a Carthaginian. We could draw a picture of a Roman. We could draw a picture of a Greek, right? But we can't draw a picture of a Carthaginian.
Real talk.
Right? And so in Spanish, or in quote unquote Spanish, that name then becomes Cartagena. So when you look at the history of this whole story about what the slavery period was about, you got to include 1492 and understand there was a lot of religious battles going on, the conquistadors, etc., etc. Too, with Christopher Columbus, when Christopher Columbus came to America, they talk about how he went to Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand and got the money, right?
Yeah.
But what they don't talk about is the fact that Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand weren't like born in a country called Spain and no shit like that. Like, they came to Spain. They were colonizers of the Iberian Peninsula, right? And so the big deal with the conquistadors is they actually had the long gun first. So, they're the first ones really to win a battle with the gun, the conquistadors, right? So, but back up to what we're talking about with Cristobal Colon. He was Italian. He wasn't Spanish. He wasn't really Portuguese, because this was all new territory.
Yeah.
Spain and Portugal was created post. They had to get rid of the Moors first. You know what I mean? Like, there was a quote unquote Iberian Peninsula that was colonized by the Moors. So 1492 is the year they got kicked out. 1492 is also the year they say that Christopher Columbus actually discovered America. Coincidence? Probably not. So these Moors already knew about the new worlds, quote unquote. They didn't believe the earth was flat. And so because Magellan and Copernicus had told people the world was flat, then, these Europeans hadn't navigated to the new world, or they would have already, quote unquote, discovered it. But the Moors had, because they had different science, different technology. And so the Moors, after being, quote unquote, conquered, the story is that some of the Moors ended up, becoming navigators for the Europeans. One evidence of it in Florida is a man named Estevanico the Moor. If you go look up the history of Estevanico the Moor, you'll find out he was a Moorish black navigator who took white folks to America and showed them around. And,
what's that name one more time?
Estevanico the Moor.
Okay. Hey, man, that's some good information, bro. It's a lot of stuff that, man, people just don't know. Like, and most of it's because, like, a lot of people don't seek information. People will just listen to something and be like, okay, that's it. The ability to actually take time to do research and look stuff in and appreciate the information and decipher the information is like a lost art nowadays. You're getting more people that's getting into, researching stuff and attaining information. But like I said, with the curriculum in school, it's like once they brain train you for 12 years, it's like, yeah, it's hard for you to even grasp some of the stuff that, what I'm saying, our people done been through, or that other people done been through. It's hard to grasp it because you're like, well, they said this, or I read this. And you know what I'm saying? How is it even legal for them to put incorrect curriculum in schools?
Good question. Where does the school come from?
Where does the who?
Where does the school come from?
Dig that.
The whole concept of school and a classroom, we're now back in Africa. We're now back in what they call Egypt, but that's a European word. The Africans call it Kemet. So once you go back to Kemet, that's the home of the writing utensil with Thoth, and the creation of the classroom also is Thoth. And so there was no classrooms in all of Europe at the time that Thoth invented the classroom in Africa, and the Europeans came into Africa. The Macedonians, many people call it the Greeks, but actually Alexander the quote unquote Greek. He was a Macedonian, although those people later coalesced in Macedonia as a state in Greece. So it's a culture,
Yeah.
right? So the point is that, you know, those people didn't have any written word in all of Macedonia or Greece. So how is it that they teach you in school that Homer wrote the Iliad and the Odyssey and these are the first books? That's obviously untrue. If the people who quote unquote colonized Africa, who we know the Africans wrote, we still looking at their writings to this day, right?
Yeah, real talk.
And they've got 500 million artifacts in the museum of England, in London, and they've also got 500 million artifacts in the Louvre Museum in Paris from Africa, from Kemet specifically, quote unquote Egypt. And so we've seen their writings are all over Europe. People paid millions of dollars to own and possess this art. So we know that these African people were writing. And so how in the world can we, you know, be educated, you know, in this falsehood? And the reason we are is because when you understand what happened when they came into Africa and attempted to, you know, quote unquote, colonize the people. And they understood this, that in order to colonize a people or subjugate a people, you have to be their God, or, you know what I mean? You have to be on par with their God. I can't colonize a people, but they believe that the little a rabbit is their God, because at the end of the day, their reverence is for the rabbit, not me, right?
Yeah.
And so I have to replace their God. And this is the law of colonization and colonizing not only people's bodies, but their minds. And so when they came into Africa, the African priests from the north were moved to the south towards Sudan, modern day Ethiopia, from the north in order to protect them like any people would do. And so the priests who they were running into didn't have the knowledge, number one. You had to go to the mystery school for 40 years. When the Macedonians and Greeks first came down there, they tried to, you know, infiltrate the educational system, what they call the mystery school, but they were unable to infiltrate the mystery school because you had to literally go at the age of 4 and you graduated at 44. So if you're a grown man colonized and you can't go, sir, but your son can, who's going to give their child to another group of people for their people to educate those people and then expect those children to work in opposition against those people? That's foolish, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so, of course, the Greeks and the Macedonians said hell no to that proposition. But you have to understand, because we don't understand the history of the fact that one people are a literate people and one people are an illiterate people. It's a different thing than when we understand the relationship between quote unquote black people, Africans, and enslaved people, and quote unquote whites, colonizers, Europeans, because they were the educated, literate ones, and then they had forced the enslaved to not be literate, and that was their power over them. And still to this day, you'll hear people all the time talk about what's wrong with the black community. Education, they need education, right? And so we understand that there was a different situation at the time that, you know, these two groups of people first met. It was African people who had all the knowledge, education, the classroom, the written word, and the Europeans who didn't.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy, man. So when you took it upon yourself to try to get an understanding on all this type of stuff, what are some of the literature that you use to decide what information was correct and what information wasn't?
Well, one of the books I read, I gave to you.
Like a motherfucker.
Right? You remember the book I gave? What's the book I gave you?
Talking about the 48?
Right? The 48 Laws of Power. The 48 Laws of Power, you know, give you some real core tenets of how to extract power out of certain situations and understand and leverage, et cetera, right? So the bottom line is that when you look at, you know, books like that give you like an instrumental understanding of like how people move together. Like you could lie to me about the history, but you can't show me 10 case studies of people throughout history that had power, got greedy, treated people like shit, and got overthrown for me to not understand the lesson of, hey, don't get fat greedy or your ass will get overthrown, right? So, you know, that was the key to 48 Laws of Power, is it gives you that critical analytical mind to be able to look at different personalities, how they operate together, and how you can extract power from that situation. I mean, that's what we did when we were incarcerated. I mean, everything was like playing a game of chess, you know, a real life game of chess that could cost you your life. You know, the same thing in the streets, except it's in close quarters in those environments. But
super close quarters.
Close quarters. So, but the bottom line is that, you know, if you understand that they can lie to you about your history, you know, but today with all this internet that we got, even the books that I read, I'm gonna tell you who they are, but they can't lie to you about your past no more. They can only lie to you about your present, and that'll take us to that COVID question you asked earlier. But the first real book that just opened it all up for me was by a man named Dr. Chancellor Williams, and it was called "The Destruction of Black Civilization."
I read that one too.
Right? You remember that book, right?
And Siik is a beast, boy.
Yeah, you see, and so that book right there is the book that it tells you the relationship and how we related to European people in the world, and who were we and who were they and what was their provocation and what was ours. Like how did we get in this position? And Dr. Chancellor Williams gives you an insight to the mindset of these European people who didn't have resources, who were fighting each other in order to eat, and African people who was chilling, enjoying, wearing gold chains around their neck before the European.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will look at us and say, why black people wearing all these chains? That's like slavery chains. No, we were wearing these adornments before slavery. And so it's in our culture, it's in our DNA. And so, that was the thing about that book, was that it broke down the relationship and kind of the psychology of both groups and how we ended up in the situation we in, because in order to understand how to get out of it, you got to understand how we got in it. So that was the key to that book. That was a great book for that.
Man, I love that book, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Some of the stuff in that book, that's a book that talks about Hannibal. That's really where I got because you got to think, if you don't know nothing about the general Hannibal, the only Hannibal you know is the Hannibal in the movie.
Right, Hannibal Lecter.
Which is propaganda also. So it's like,
right.
It's almost like once you find out that the name Hannibal got more of a meaning than just a psychological guy going around eating people's brains, like, you like, whoa. Like, this really got some substance to it.
Right. It's an important story in history. It really is. It's a very important story because Hannibal was defeated because of his loyalty to Africa and the fact that he left his post in Europe and he didn't hold it down there. If he would have held it down there and not allowed them people to trick him and dupe him into coming back to Carthage, he would have been able to get his forces back together and win that war. Even the First Punic War, and how they lost that war, because the Carthaginians were actually making ships first. They were making ships so good that they wrote the instructions on how to make the ships inside the ship. So when the Romans actually were in the water, the Romans, having a vast empire and more resources, they were able to reproduce these boats because, it's almost like China getting the plans to how to make a boat, and then some dudes down the street from where you live at, you know what I'm saying, having the plans to the same boat. It'd be 12 people making one boat down the street from you. But in Rome at that time, it would be 12 groups of 20 people putting together boats. And so they were able to refashion so many boats so fast that they were able to catch, Hannibal and his forces in Carthage off guard. And, they won the First Punic War.
That's crazy. So before we get too far away from your accomplishments, because I think it's important for people to understand that, we're not silver spoon people. Like, we come from the same rough environments, the same rough beginnings, the same lack of knowledge of opportunities. We come from the same place that everybody else that a lot of us come from. Just let them know a little bit about you, where you kind of started and where the idea of the school started. And then where you at today with everything.
Right. So, man, shout out Michael Gay. Funny story. I'm on the yard. I'm at Lawton at Wackenhut. I'm doing all this time just before I got my sentence reduced to the 20-year sentence and got out. You know what I'm saying? So I leave Wackenhut finally after like 5.5 years. They sent us over to William Key. It's a laid back yard. It's wide open. This is actually where General Custer and them had one of their little battles. It's like a historical place called William S. Key, Fort Supply.
Now let me let them know. Now, for those who don't know about the places that he is mentioning, these are Oklahoma penitentiaries. You know what I'm saying? Just so y'all kind of get an understanding, like he did a lot of time. Those are Oklahoma penitentiaries that he's talking about. Go ahead, though.
Right. So, going from a medium max to a minimum where there's no fences and, it was times people just ran away from the prison. and going from a place to where it was dudes there that was never going home. That was a hell of a transition. And I've been locked up like 6 years at that time, like a year and a half in the county. I think it was 4.5 years I was locked up because the private prisons have a 5-year contract on you, and mine wasn't up yet. So long story short, we end up at William Key, and the minimum security, and this kid named Michael Gay. Shout out to Mike. He was on the yard with me. Cooler dude, country kid from Hugo. Not in the gangs, but with some gangs in Hugo. He hung around who we hung around. Your cousins be who your cousins are, right? You're a little mixed cat, real light skinned, chill dude. And so he was on my pod in what they call the ghetto at Wackenhut, House 1 and 2, where all the gangbangers was at. So I done got into it. I done lost my level. You know what I'm saying? You know how that is. Dry cell, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? All that, right? So I'm fresh out of jail. I done got into it with some cat from 60s. We going back and forth. Knives and all this players and came into effect. So it's serious. So I go to lockup, get out of lockup. I'm on this pod. And so, like, it was just a loose, little, weird little pod with little cats from different little sets. And they, Lightweight was trying to pick on little Michael. Not physically, but they was just saying, like, their little jazzy shit. And I ain't like it. Because it was like, if you're going to be at somebody, then be at them and let that be what it is. And really, I can't respect nobody just picking fights with a dude because he ain't in no gang. So if you beat him up, it ain't even no repercussions you ever going to have to suffer. It's just an easy win. Like, I don't like dudes that just out there.
Or lost.
Boy, you know what I'm saying? Or lost.
Right, everybody ain't to be played with, boy.
Right. And he proved that he wasn't. You know what I'm saying? All the dude came up with him. He put in he could have got him. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't in shape and ran out of gas. You know how they go. But he was mixing that dude up. And I know that dude done been in hella fights. And I know Michael Gay ain't been fighting like that. So bottom line is that, shout out to him. He did his thing. And, after that, obviously he had my respect. So I kind of put the little blanket of the B around him and shit. It was like, man, y'all ain't gonna mess with little dude. You know how that go. You have people that you respect like that, right? So bottom line is we get to this minimum. He's got like 27 years and it's 85%, right? So we get to the minimum. The whole way, he's like, man, I ain't supposed to be at the minimum. Like, they messed up, right? And so I'm like, man, shut up. Don't say nothing. He's like, man, I ain't finna be at no minimum for 17 years listening to these people tell me get up at 8 o'clock in the morning every day. So he tells the board, hey, man, send me back to Wackenhut so I can sleep. I'm so tagged.
Like y'all,
right,
the correlation between where he was at and where he was trying to go back to is like
he was on a pretty beautiful yard where we outside a canteen eating ice cream outside. We got DirecTV, BET. Like I got to see what's that show called with the tip drill? Yeah, we got to see that sneak in. Watch I'm talking about coming from a killer gorilla yard.
Yeah, straight up.
Wackenhut, they actually called it Stabbing Hut because so many people was getting stabbed at Wackenhut. You know what I mean? They
still
just took
to
the name
this
and
day.
It's still to this day called Stabbing Hut.
Man, Stabbing Hut ain't playing. Like, it's rough out there, bro.
So many people that got stabbed on their yard. But the bottom line is that, so he goes to the staff, whatever. So I think like they shipped him or no, they put him in lockup for a minute and then they let him out. It was like, man, he was like, man, they're gonna let me out. So he ended up going to a HVAC Votech that they wouldn't let me go to because I had aged out. I was like 27 and the age out was 26 to get in them, youthful offender programs. So boom, he goes to the HVAC. Fast forward to, some years later, I'm out, like 6 years later, I'm out. It's 7 years later, 2010, I'm out. This is 2003. So I'm at 7-Eleven on 23rd in Portland. I got a house on 16th in Portland on the northwest side of the city. Boom, I go to 7-Eleven. And who do I see walking in this joint? Except Mike. I'm like, man, what? So I said what's up to him, asked how he's doing it. I mean, the kid was doing great. He was doing the HVAC thing and it worked out for him. And, he kind of, gave me a dap and, we had a conversation. He was thanking me for encouraging him to take that HVAC because he didn't want to even be on the yard, bro. And I was like, nah, take advantage of this. This is something that you can use. It'll keep you out of trouble. You ain't going to get nothing like this at Wackenhut. You know what I'm saying? You're going to go right back to some bull crap. I know you don't want to, so anyway, I encouraged him to do it. He did it. And, changed his life. I mean, this kid is out here doing it at a very high level, right there where you at, you know what I'm saying? Or where you used to be out there south. You know what I'm saying? And so he's out there in Norman doing his thing. Got a great business going on. He's one of the best technicians in the state. And so just seeing that, and then also me coming to Florida, I started a little roofing business out there with my homeboy Murder. Shout out Benacci Mason. We started a little roofing business. Came right out of the box and kind of, $20,000 contract, like almost, 18, 19 grand roof. Boom, came out the box doing our thing. So, I've seen what the trades can do for men, particularly those who have been incarcerated. And I can only imagine what it could do for some of the younger brothers, when you actually can be 22, 23, 24, 25, already certified. So if you got, 25, most brothers got a kid, 1.5 kids.
Yeah.
So when you're raising kids up in our
1.5.
community, right now these 1.5, right now these kids have stability. Like we impact so many areas of the, everybody's out here marching and we talking about who we gonna vote for and Obama in the next election and this and that and go register to vote and don't forget to vote and wear your sticker and then the conversations and the arguments about Trump was racist and Biden is this and so we got all of these conversations going, but nobody's actually out here just doing the work. Everybody's sitting back expecting to elect somebody or protest somebody or shame somebody or dox somebody or cancel somebody, and somehow that's going to bring Black people liberation. Like, that's not going to bring Black people liberation. What's going to bring Black people liberation is us actually taking, and when you say what made me start the school, it was Dr. Amos Wilson's book, Falsification of African Consciousness, where I got this. And it was, he says in the book that in order to prescribe or subscribe solutions to our condition, to any people's condition, you have to first do a social, political, economic, and spiritual analysis of that community. And then, and only then, can you prescribe any solutions or any remedies to what those people are dealing with. So when you look at the solutions that they try to prescribe to Black people today, far too often they include this thing called minority or, even LGBT. Shout out to my sister and everybody else who's LGBT. No hate, no shade at you. The whole point is that America is built on anti-Blackness. It's not built on anti-LGBTness. It's not built on anti-immigrantness. It's built on friendly policies like 1862's Homestead Act that gave away 300 million acres of land for free to people, and the only requirement was you had to be a head of household. Martin Luther King talked about this when he went on his Poor People's Campaign. That's what got Martin Luther King killed, was when he started talking about the Homestead Act and actually educated people. And that's when he said, we coming to get our check. It was no more with the holding hands and all of that. What MLK realized in the end of his life was the fact that social inclusion didn't include economic inclusion. And because when Black people were economically excluded, the dollars in the Black part of town tended to touch 2 and 3 Black people's hand before they left the Black side of town, which, increases your wealth. You probably seen, and your listeners and viewers probably seen Killer Mike's trigger warning, where he kind of educated us on how the Black dollar doesn't even bounce once and it doesn't even stay in our community 7 hours, right? And so in order to really look at integration and what it did to us, what integration did was it socially integrated us into a long ass line at what white people was doing. And the short line that was at Black people, right, already was a long line of white people trying to eat. Like, all white people were having money, and Black people were actually doing better per capita than we're doing today, for the simple fact that the very businesses in our community, those dollars stayed in the community. And secondly, the fact that the teachers in our schools were Black teachers, students inherently are not just getting a curriculum education, they're getting a cultural education. If a little boy or a little girl does something in school and a little boy disrespects a little girl, and you the teacher, Willie, you can go in and you can say to somebody like, look, young man, this is your role in Black society, and we don't hit on our sisters, we don't hit on no women. I don't know what's going on in your household, but I'll be damned if I'm gonna raise some little boys up out of my class that's gonna be running around town and telling them Big 8 was my teacher and he taught me how to beat up women, right? We're not gonna be associated with that, right? And so it's a difference in if it was just an Asian kid hit a white kid, you don't even have the comfortability to even speak to the Asian culture and say, hey, Yang, you're going to mess up Asian culture by doing that, right? But you can when you're speaking to people from your own culture, right? And so there's a cultural component to our education that is lacking because of integration, because we don't go to school to learn how to solve our problems. We go to school to go get a degree to go work at AT&T, Pepsi, and one of these white corporations, Apple, Microsoft, etc. And that's a great job. They look at you and call you a success.
Yeah, straight up.
Right? You worked at GM. How many people worked at GM at big pet houses in Moore, Norman, it's successful. They'll call you a leader. They'll give you an NAACP award in the community. But when you really just strip it all away and say, how many problems that Black people suffer from in your community did you solve with that degree and that job working for that corporation? And when you answer that question, it's none, right? So why would we be sending kids to school to get an education that inherently don't solve no problems in the community, but we're going to sit here and march and vote and complain and talk and fight and all this other shit?
Yeah, it's backwards.
So it's backwards. And so, you know what I'm saying? I'm one of the people, I'm a solution-oriented person, man. You know what I mean? Talking about problems ain't make me no money. It ain't make no time go no faster for me. What made time go faster for me was me actually finding solutions to having a 75-year sentence within the law. And you know what I'm saying? Minding my business and keeping my head down and smashing the gas when it need be. And so at the end of the day, that's the same thing that you got to use in life. You feel me? And so that's the thing that I applied to when I seen the Black Lives Matter and the police violence and brutality. Bro, I'm not scared of the police. I don't think the police is going to try to kill me. I've, to be honest with you, never really been in fear for the police killing me, except after Philando Castile and Alton Sterling got killed. And I got pulled over in Oklahoma City. And I was in a white Mercedes with Florida lights placed in front of a Belle Isle Walmart. Man, they had 20 police out there. And the sad part about it was the police that pulled me over was a Black dude talking about some marijuana and all this and why you acting nervous. I'm like, bro, two brothers just got killed. This is like July or something. And them brothers got killed the week of 4th of July. I'll never forget. 2016. Right.
Crazy.
So, you know, I'm looking at the police officer and I'm lightweight, shook, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, y'all act like I got 20 assault rifles in the trunk. It ain't even that serious.
Listen, and I had to snap back. Like, I ain't never been scared of the police because shit, I'm always, in the past, I'd always been doing dirt. So I'm too busy trying to not get away with what I'm trying to get away with to be scared of them trying to kill me type of stuff. Like I didn't, your mind.
Yeah, that wasn't even something that we was thinking about, like when we was moving and shaking.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be fatalistic like that, like I'd have to have a pistol in my hand and be in like a shootout with somebody or be, you know what I'm saying? If I got a pistol out, then I would be concerned like, oh shit, they probably got a reason to shoot me. But the fear that they've just put into people about the police department, and again, not to say I'm the friend of the police, but the fear that they've put into people's minds about the police department, that all these police are going to kill you, has worked against the interests of Black people and Black communities. Because if you look and see how this murder rates is going up everywhere, the police, oh, you want to defund us? We don't give a fuck about y'all. We risking our lives being in there anyway. Y'all killing y'all best rappers and top dudes is getting killed. Who do you think little Corporal Johnny think he is going to your community? These is the rappers. And they act like Corporal Johnny not scared going in there. Yeah, they scared. Yeah, they shooting us because they scared to death. What are we doing to change the conditions in the community where people can come in and not feel that they in fear for their life? Anybody with common sense should be feared for their life if they go up in these communities. And you see what they did to Young Dolph in his community.
Yeah, real
You see
talk.
what they did to Yoda Ruler backstage at a Snoop concert.
Shit, seen what they did to Nip in the front door of his own store in his own hood.
I mean, you just can't be no more solid than that brother was. So if you can't be like a respected dude out the mud, inspiration for like every gang banger in the world to want to be, right? Like Nipsey represented even as a Crip, I got to take my hats off to him because he represented everything that a gangbanger is. A gangbanger is a gangbanger because of geographical location and association. That's why a gangbanger is a gangbanger.
Facts.
A young Black man is not out here looking to be involved in nobody's gang. That's not, we want to be musicians or do this or have cars and, hang out, have fun, make money, have a good job. That's what young Black men dream of. But if you live in a certain geographical location, because of the drugs, and we ain't got to talk about Ronald Reagan and Iran-Contra and how the government was involved, but you put all these drugs in the community. We don't make these guns either. We ain't fly shit in here. So you put all of this in a community that was 10 years, 15 years before this fighting for their liberation and independence. Some pissed off people.
Yeah.
Now you done just got them high on the most potent drug on the market, and then let me throw some assault rifles in there to boot. Because of that geographical location.
Yeah, get high and kill each other.
Yeah. So
dig this. I'm gonna have you check out the backstage. We finna go on a little break. We're gonna my boy P54, man, he just came out with a Christmas project, man. And We could doing a review on it probably in a couple days. Project slap, man. I'm talking about. I haven't really been just tapping into a lot of people's music here recently because I've been so focused on
Is
making
it really
sure.
good?
Yeah, I've been working on my own mission. You feel me? So it ain't really. I ain't
Oh,
really
it's the
had a
song
lot.
I heard
Yeah,
already.
It's the one we
The little-
kicked it off with at the beginning. I'm gonna play it again for the people who wasn't here.
Right.
But
I fool with it.
yeah, I'm gonna go on and run that. Everybody check it out. Feel free to give your opinions and stuff. We're gonna do a whole review on the whole project. It's an EP, it's six songs. We're gonna do a whole review on the project this week before Christmas. So just make sure y'all tune in and tap in and check that out. But right now I'm gonna play 420 by P54G from GP Productions. Let me know what y'all think. If I can find it, am I retarded at? I'm a little retarded. I'm a little slow.
For 2012, 25, tryna spend my Christmas high, feeling good, blessed to be alive. Smoke. For 2012, 25, tryna spend my Christmas high, I'm feeling good, blessed to be alive. Smoke. I usually don't do this here. I'm trying something new this year. My nerves ain't shit, I've been on edge. I'm trying to get through this year. They tell me to calm down, then they tell me to calm down. He hand me an ounce, some shit I can't even pronounce. My nigga, I am calm now, yeah. Won't you? Light one for twin, light one for minutes. Light one for lavish. My nigga, I am finished. Yeah. For 2012, 25. Tryna spend my Christmas high. Feeling good, blessed to be alive. Smoke. For 2012, 25. Tryna spend my Christmas high. I'm feeling good, blessed to be alive. Smoke. Light one for twin, light one for minutes, light one for lavish. My nigga, I am finished. Yeah. For 2012, 25, tryna spend my Christmas high, feeling good, blessed to be alive. Smoke. For 2012, 25, tryna spend my Christmas high, I'm feeling good, blessed to be alive. Smoke.
Niggas ain't solid no more. Niggas ain't tryna make $1 no more. Same one flexing all hard for the gram. Be the ones to fold when the cops get close. Damn, bitches ain't solid no more. I ain't got time for a gold digging hoe. Same one saying that niggas ain't shit. Be the ones working on baby daddy number 4. Like damn, niggas ain't riding no more. The way I'm wrecking shouldn't be driving no more. Pedal to the metal, but to push it to the flow. You can call me anything besides a deadbeat and broke. Like damn, leverage CE. We are Leverage Entertainment.
What up? We back. I'm with my guy King Siik, man. Hey man, you got a lot of numbers balled up in the head of yours, bro. Like I don't even understand how you remember like all that. Like that is a lot of information at one time. And you are like always ready and prepared. That's why I was like with this interview, we really don't even have to go off no little, most people set up an itinerary and stuff like that. Like we could really run because you know so much stuff. I don't even see how you have enough time to get all this stuff and not jumble jangle it. Cause like I ain't gonna lie, I don't even be knowing what I be wanting to eat sometimes. So it'd be easy for me to not remember some stuff, and then I smoke. That don't help. Nigga, you smoke and you remember all this shit. I don't understand. You got some kind of secret or something? You gonna tell me? Oh, can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
You know, I just try to, you know what I mean, when it comes to the information, you know, I don't try to just read the information. I try to, you know, I look at it like documents. You spend so many years fighting your case and fighting write-ups and fighting the system. You know, you get really good at not just reading, but reading to understand and comprehend.
Straight
And you
up.
know, a lot of times it's just the magic of actually reading stuff. And when you see numbers, like I was listening to something, they were talking about customs and the packages coming into America through New York, and they said a million packages and 100 officers. So I'm like, that's 10,000 packages for every officer. Ain't no way they're gonna catch all the drugs coming into America.
Hell
So
no.
you know what I mean.
Niggas
So
get
it
tired
just
and shit.
right. But I remember that because I would have just forgot it. It just would have been a little news interview that I heard, and it just would have skipped right on by me. But when I hear numbers, I think, you know, and I try to do the math and I divide, you know, so it quantifies and makes sense. And once information makes sense to you, now the information now becomes your inner formation. It's no longer information. The information now has transformed you and created who you are. So you ain't gonna forget nothing that made you who you are.
Dig that. Dig that. So this company that you got, we are the builders. That's kind
Yep.
of what we've been talking about the whole podcast, though, huh?
Well, I mean, just
Or
kind
does
of,
it
you
have
know,
like other levels, or you got other stuff going on? Like I know you're doing your stock market thing. What's up with that?
man, I've been, you know, really focused on this, you know, the whole crypto thing. Once, you know, Trump got out of office, things got real shaky. And you know, once that happened, I just kind of had to, you know, divest. And that's really about the same time that we started looking for, you know, kind of a way to invest in this whole skills trade academy game. Shout out to my guy Todd Brown. He really just put it, you know, right in my lap, and it wasn't any excuses about where we were going to go from there. I mean, he provided all the resources needed in order for us to get this thing started. So, you know, the school itself is focused on, you know, obviously bringing them skilled trades to the fold. But in the fact that I was talking about solving problems in the community, when you look at the black community, the number one thing that you see in that community, what makes it the quote unquote hood of the ghetto, is the old and failing infrastructure. So for us to have such a high population of young people, and those people to also be unemployed and jobless, some of those people being felons that can't really find work, why not be in the skilled trades position? It's an equal trade-off, and not only is it equal trade-off in that it facilitates young people staying out, not becoming recidivists, staying out of prison, and for those who never gone, never have to worry about going, and for those who need an upgrade from working at, you know, such and such restaurant or fast food chain for a couple years and really want to have something stable that's a career they can retire doing, this is an attractive opportunity to the person who's already been getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, straight
You know,
up.
sometimes we discount the people that are out there working their butt off, and you know what I'm saying, are getting out there early in the morning, but just, you know, they working for pennies. And so to give people something, and then the pride factor. When you work in the skilled trades, if you work as a plumber and you lay down, you know, a job, or you work, you know, doing carpentry or masonry or anything, and you can take a step back and look and see what you did, that's like artwork, and that's a real accomplishment. Your family should be proud of you. People are going to be walking in and out of that building. That's, you know, that's one of the greatest things that a man can do, is to build,
Yeah,
is
real
to build.
talk. Man, I ain't gonna
So
lie. You know, like the whole time I was out there moving and shaking, I once I went sat down, like my whole thing was when I get out, I have to do something different. There has to be a plan. There has to be a move to not go back to what I was doing. So when I, you know, I worked at the car wash, I worked at the smoke shop, and then I got presented with an opportunity to be a remodeler. I never would have thought that I would have been a great remodeler, but I ended up being one of the best. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's with this whole school thing you got going on, man. It's gonna provide opportunities for people to see something that you may have never thought that you would do. You might be great at it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that drive of being great at something will make a person want to continue and pursue and build and grow and move up, stuff like that. Because that's what it did for me. I never thought that I would be a merchandising supervisor, but I done trained thousands of people. I done completed almost 100 stores in 7 years. Yeah, 6.5, 7 years. I probably done did 100 stores. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of them things to where, like, that opportunity, when I was graduating high school, only thing I knew was Votech. I didn't know of a school that I could go to that had a multitude of trades and stuff that I could experiment with and try. And I only thing I knew was Votech. So when I went to Votech for the only thing I was interested in, come to find out, I was completely not interested in the class because I had already been freelancing it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes trying something new and a new environment makes it easier for people to learn and understand and be great at something. You know what I'm saying? That school
Right.
thing is a beautiful thing, bro. I'm much respect, big kudos, salute, for real, for
Salute,
real.
no doubt.
So with your
So,
clubhouse, tell the people about your clubhouse group, man.
oh man, so Clubhouse, it's an audio chat app. People kind of having conversations, creating what they call rooms, and you'll see lots of rooms in what they call the hallway on Clubhouse. It used to be an invite-only app that was only for iPhone users only. And I got on there last year after the election, and I was one of those black people who was talking that Trump talk. And I'm sure you saw how I got blocked off of Facebook. I used to do my little live videos, do my little workout, go, what I'm saying, or just pop in and, wherever and give political commentary during the election last year because it was, it was pretty hot contested when it came to, who was going to be the next president in 2020. And so I got on Clubhouse and I really wanted to be on a platform, that was more like this, right? But
Yeah,
Clubhouse was the next best thing because I was shut down on Facebook and I really hadn't kind of got into the whole Instagram thing yet. And so getting on Clubhouse, I kind of sat back, listened, peeped the game. There was a lot of people who um, were involved in the whole election at a high level. I'm talking news correspondents, people within the elections, even some political candidates were on Clubhouse, back when it was invite only and pretty exclusive.
yeah,
So now that you've got Clubhouse to where it's no invites, it's a little bit different. But during this time, I met a lot of people, met some famous people, some actors and politicians, and I'm not gonna name drop everybody, but definitely some people who's got some names that firsthand. So it was a great opportunity to start spreading my message, which is um, black conservatism. And people look at you and they're like, black conservatism, what is that? And people think about Candace Owens and these coon type Negroes who get out here and essentially they are shields for those racist white people on the right who say ridiculous shit and then they come out and explain like, no, 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 that wasn't crazy. You know what I'm saying? And so when I talk about black conservatism, I'm not even talking about politics. It ain't got nothing to do with Republicans. It has everything to do with the fact that 79% of the Planned Parenthood abortion clinics are in black communities. And the number of black abortions since the 1970s is equal to the population of black people that exist right now today, have been thrown in the trash. Well, not thrown in the trash, because if you actually do the research on it, those body parts and fetuses and things, those are stem cells. And so then they take those same black babies' fetuses and then they put them in this basically a part of the pharmaceutical industry. And then they make thousands of dollars charging you money for those stem cells, right? So it's a hell of a game, that our people are being duped in this way. And there are so many people, the Jesse Jacksons of the world and others who have, spoken out against it when they knew it was wrong. But then when Planned Parenthood and other organizations that are far left liberal, who want to keep those abortion clinics in the black community because it is a eugenics program started by a lady named Margaret Sanger, Sanger. If you know who Margaret Sanger is, you know what's up. And so, eugenics was a program specifically designed to kill black people. So the fact that, you know, I got a chance to get on a platform and be able to have those conversations that you can't have on Facebook, man, because Facebook started turning, and and you see what it is now.
See, all that
And
censoring stuff make it to where like you really can't say nothing.
no, you can't.
Like I got blocked. On Facebook for 24 hours just because somebody put a question on their Facebook. And I answered them in my way. I wasn't disrespectful to nobody. It was no hate in it. Excuse me. But the fact that my answer correlated with what they were asking, I got blocked and the person that made the post got blocked. But other people on the post didn't get blocked. I'm just like, I don't understand. And then like there's nobody to call and be like, hey, listen, this ain't what that was. You know what I'm saying? And why is this? They want to, everything is through email and quick chat and all that type of stuff. Like nobody wants to hear you complain about your Facebook being blocked. But say for instance, I'm using this as a medium for my business. You pretty much claim my business up for 24 hours. You know
Right.
what I'm
They
saying?
evicted you from your digital real estate
Yeah. That was free in the first place.
platform. Well, but it is your platform, and you being a user is what monetizes it for Facebook. No you, no Facebook.
Yeah.
So you're the value. It's not that you're doing it for free. No, you're paying for that. In the fact that you're bringing value to that app to make that app valuable.
Facts.
So every user on Facebook is worth currency. That's what they leverage every day when the stock market opens up. They leverage the fact that they have XYZ users. So those users are the value of Facebook, not the other way around. First of all. Second of all, once that's your digital real estate and you have created and crafted a following of people who, whether it's your business or your personality or just your page, you bring consumers into the Facebook marketplace. So you're not just a user; you're a business partner with Facebook. And so the fact
Right.
that Facebook can take its business partners and then fact check them, and if you haven't heard the latest, the fact checkers gave a response back to a post by who was it? I want to say it was Robert Kennedy, and the post was something about the jab and or the mandates or something of that nature. And but he had all the receipts to back up what he was saying. And what Facebook said is that it was protected opinion. It wasn't that they were fact checking. The fact checkers literally said, "Well, it wasn't fact. It was our protected opinion." So how you gonna be a fact checker and you fact check somebody else's facts, and then when they have all the receipts and then you have no receipts, you can still justify blocking the information because it's a protected opinion?
That's deep. Shit, that's
That's communism. That's communism.
that's Jim Crow power.
That's communism power. That's what that is. And that's what you're witnessing in America right now. And that's why, you know what I'm saying, while Trump might not have been perfect, Trump wasn't a communist. You know what I mean? And like we've got real deal communism creeping up in America. There's a man named Yuri Bezmenov, and he came with a thing called ideological subversion. It's a video on YouTube people can go watch. And Yuri Bezmenov. It ain't easy to spell, but I'm sure you'll get it if you put in ideological subversion. And he flipped. He was KGB, and then he defected to Canada. And he did a lot of videos in the 80s and 90s about this ideological subversion. And he talked about how the Soviet Union was already. He was like, so how long will the Soviet Union begin before it would start having impact? He says, oh, already have impact now. Pretty soon Americans will no longer be saying and criticizing government. They will no longer criticize government. This is in the 90s, like 89, 91. And he's talking about what's going on right now. You know, you could literally take it, and I've always wanted to do it, take Yuri Bezmenov talking about ideological subversion and put it up against the latest story of the news of the day. How about the post that the White House gave, Joe Biden gave, about it's going to be a long, cold winter for the unvaccinated, and you're going to be in hospitals that we don't got room for, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, he gave a message to the vaccinated, and he gave a message to the unvaccinated. Joe Biden.
Even after they deemed it a fact that vaccinated people got more people sick than unvaccinated people. Like how the hell do they just push these
Because
facts
people
to the
got out
side
there
and
in
say
the
what the
street,
hell they want to say.
because people got out there in the street because of George Floyd, but they ain't getting out there in the street because of this.
Facts.
No disrespect to George Floyd, but that was one man and one man's life. We talking about the whole. We ain't gonna, y'all. We fought like that for one dude. We ain't gonna fight like that for everybody.
Yeah.
It's up.
Rest in peace.
So,
Rest in peace.
rest in peace. And it sounds to me like ideological subversion. That's communism. When you see things that are just incongruent in the social political world around you, when you see how hard everybody went for Breonna Taylor and for George Floyd, but where was Ahmaud Arbery? Ahmaud Arbery, we just now finding out through the trial they just had, it was actual real deal corruption all the way down to the prosecutor. It was police. It was like years of corruption that got uncovered. I'm talking about all kind of just dirt of dirt of dirt of dirt of dirt of dirt. But with the George Floyd situation, we're focused on the boom, boom, bam, the knee in the neck. With Breonna Taylor, it's the boom, 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 the gunshots, the fire. But the real culprit in these killings is the fact that we know that these people don't get no justice. Now, we can't stop that bullet from flying or that knee from getting put down, but we can damn sure stop allowing people to have grand jury indictment hearings where they get to come in and bring bullshit evidence and lie on people. And then, either the police aren't charged or your ass is charged in
Yeah.
a secret indictment hearing between the prosecutor and some unwitting damn jurors who don't even want to be there. They want to be at home doing whatever the hell else, right? And thank God for the juror in the Breonna Taylor case who actually came out and sued the folks because she said, hold on, when I got home and heard the real story, like they ain't even say that in the indictment. She heard more than 30-second clip on ABC News than she did sitting in the damn witness stand in the indictment.
So what is emotional discovery? I mean, what is the preliminary hearing for then? I thought that's where they presented all the evidence.
And that's the trickeration is the grand jury indictment. You see what I'm saying? And that's how they've been able to, because again, it's always, we wait for the police to get indicted first, right? It's not that they just get charged, because they always do the internal investigation first in internal affairs, and then they turn that over to the DA, and then there is the charges or not the charges, right? But the indictment is where the internal affairs presents the evidence. So you got internal affairs presenting evidence to the prosecutor in a secret meeting that you don't even know, and you could be the person that's being charged or investigated.
Getting hung out to dry, don't even know it.
So who's there to really defend you?
Facts.
They're having a meeting in the dark, and we talking about the game is fair. Yeah, it's fair once you come out of that closet. Then okay, everything's fair now, and we'll share evidence, and we can only ask questions, and we can say all that innocent till proven guilty bull crap. But the grand jury indictment is where white supremacy is able to use sleight of hand and make niggas guilty and white people cops innocent. So why would we not be focused on the Ahmaud Arbery case, where we literally have now seen a prosecutor is about to get buried up under the jail, but now the activism is gone. See, if you would have had people out there in the streets and they would have found out last year what they found out this year, and people was in the streets, guess what happens, Ape? You know how dominoes fall. We looking for the next prosecutor.
Yeah, straight
now
up.
We got a problem on our hands because now people are going to be thinking more strategically, because when you start looking for these prosecutors, now we need to compare sentences. How are the sentences being given out? How many convictions they've been getting? Once you start digging through those numbers and you start digging through the demographics, you're going to know who the people are who are literally the race soldier, white supremacists who are working as the prosecutor. You haven't been with the prosecutor. You've already been prosecuted by the prosecutor. You know how shady the game is. You know that shit ain't fair. You know them people ain't playing fair. We from a country ass, Oklahoma ass, where these white folk do what they want to do and behind them those closed doors. So,
Hey, you got one of the people in the chat. He said the old saying, they don't let the left hand know what the right hand doing. Shout out to Jamie Berry, man. Thanks for tapping in, bro. Shout out to Flame. Shout out to Tiffany. I see y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. For sure, for sure. Yeah, he said they don't let the left hand know what the right hand doing.
Yeah, for sure. So, and again, that's a good point, because like the system of quote unquote white supremacy, I've never heard people talk about white supremacy so much in my life. I was the person on Facebook in 2009 and 10 when I first got a Facebook talking about white supremacy, and people was looking at me like,
everybody looking at you like you crazy and shit.
Yeah, man, you overly black. What are you talking about?
Yeah, why you so adamant? What's wrong with you? Why you so mad? No, we're not mad. We just understand and we saying something.
Right.
And that's not mad. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. Like, if we don't ever say nothing, won't nobody ever say nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
nobody ever do nothing.
Yeah, ain't nobody ever, it won't be no solutions. And see, I see a lot of people on these podcasts and on these shows, and they talk about, well, what do we do? How do we fix our situation? Whoopty whoopty whoop. A lot of people talk about it, but once you get into the depth of it, it's a book that I had got while I was locked up called Robert's Rule of Order. Like, there's a structure for this type of shit. The same structure that we suffering in, they make structures. There's a written pamphlet on how to structure, you know what I'm saying, your situation to where it can benefit you and to where you can get from up under somebody's thumb. But it gotta be a group of people strong enough that want to actually see them changes. Most of these people get into the fight and be like, this fight is too much. It's taken away from such and such and such and such and such and such. We need to come to, like, the NAACP is only, they ain't really after what we looking for anyway. They got their own agendas. You know what I'm saying? We need a group. And Ice Cube was talking about that too. Starting up a group of people that got money and got power and got influence to push for the right narratives. And he was starting with the whole Trump situation, which, my personal opinion, I think Trump was better for us than Biden for 4 more years. My personal opinion. But with that being said, I mean, his movement was against Trump. But the problem is everybody did the whole against Trump thing, and Biden ain't did nothing for nobody. All he did was continue the stuff that most times presidents need 2 terms for you to even see them make change, because a lot of the stuff that they walk into office in is the backlash and the back end of what the president before them was dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And then the few little changes that can make in them 4 years, it really start progressing at the end of the 3rd and the beginning of the 4th year. That's when you really start to see whether they failing or whether they being successful. And as far as the economy and jobs and stuff like that, during Trump's term, things did get better. Did they start to get better with Obama? Yeah. But were they better with Trump? Yes. It's facts. You know what I'm saying? Minimum wage changed in some places.
But you got to remember that when people are able to say that politically, see, this is the thing I love about being a statistician, I guess, a datistician type of guy, is that when people say we started getting better under Obama, technically true, but only because the housing crisis happened in 2007, of which Obama was a strong supporter of bailing out the banks and of bailing out the automakers, right? So I remember when they left the campaign trail, him and Hillary Clinton and others left the campaign trail to go back to Congress and sign the bailout package. There was a lot of, news coverage because you had all these different campaigns, presidential campaigns going on, and each presidential campaign's got a certain amount of press around it. And then all of those campaigns converged on Washington because most of those people were already elected officials and went in to sign the bill that actually bailed out the bank. So you had an overwhelming amount of media that actually covered that. That's why I remember it. I was locked up at the time. So the point is that 2008, when you actually can kind of flicker the light on and say Obama's economy, he's given such an advantage. It's almost like buying a stock or a crypto.
Yeah,
he got
buying
it for the
the
low.
super cheap, yeah.
He got it for the low. And so when you look at his policies like quantitative easing created 1.1 million new millionaires, and less than 0.2% of them was black. So he literally gave a gift to white America with this thing called quantitative easing, which just means, you put a bunch of money in the market and you allow people to begin to, sort of liquidate and use that money to spend in the economy and kind of jumpstart the economy through quantitative easing. And so what that also does is it creates more wealthy people, and it creates an even deeper pocket for those who was already wealthy. And so when you run into a thing like this pandemic did, again, this is buy for the low, sell it for the high. So any business that you're in, you look at the inflation prices right now, you'll see where the dollar is at and where the dollar is valued. Now, there's naturally an inflation just built into the American dollar because of, our spending habits. But, we kind of went off the chain, off the Richter when you put $13.2 trillion in the economy during COVID. So, looking at Obama and looking at Trump, Trump actually had a semi-stabilized economy, and then he kind of shook some wrinkles out of it. When you start looking at the southern border, every 1,000 illegal immigrants from the southern border takes 10 cents out of a black worker's pocket, right? Because those people compete for jobs with people in the black community, naturally. And so we don't see them politically as our competition because, it's the black and brown when we do the politics and the Black Lives Matter and all that type of stuff. But when you just get down to the economics of it, it actually does impact black people first negatively. So when Trump was talking about all of that and people were kind of feeling some type of way in the black community, it was really counterintuitive to what politics really worked for us.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Well, and you can say we set up to fail all you want, but when you actually look at the information about the situation, it's overwhelming. It's like, dang, like, how far do you want to push us down the economic ladder?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, good Lord.
We gotta take responsibility though. And then that's the part where We Are the Builders comes in, is that I say that the number one weapon against white supremacy is accountability. Accountability is what allowed me to thrive and survive going through what we went through in the streets, prison, and just, as a man. Was just at some point in time, I could do all the messed up stuff I want to, stay up late, you could do this and social responsibilities, whatever. But at some point in time, like, there's that level of accountability that kicks in, right? And that's the one thing that I do appreciate about being a blood and coming up and having that mentality is that, yeah, you could be lazy all you want to, but it's always somebody watching you because of your affiliation. And because you represent something bigger than you, you just can't go out there and go do no Willie the Foo-Foo because you make everybody look bad.
At
right?
least
And
you're
so,
not supposed to.
At least you're not supposed to. You're
Gang
supposed to have
culture
that.
is so fucked up. I ain't even gonna hold it. Like, everything from the biggest big homies to the littlest little homies. Gang culture is so fucked up to where, like, it took me as an adult to understand the problems in gang culture. Like, I was talking to some of the little homies the other day, and I was talking to them about bettering themselves, because that's always the thing that I'm on. Better yourself, take care of your family, be a man, and stuff like that. Because those are the lessons, those are the messages that the people are not giving these young dudes. You know what I'm saying? So I try to give them that type of message because that's kind of what I veered off from with the gang stuff. When I had my son, true enough, yeah, devoted and quoted. But after I had my son, my mind changed. Like, it was less about me and more about the collective. That's what's missing with the gang thing. You got little bitty groups that huddle up together that love each other to death. But there's no collective. There's no organization. There's no structure. Even in some of your better groups, like there's some gang groups that I show all the love in the world to. I ain't gonna say no names. I ain't gonna call nobody out. That ain't nobody's business. But they support each other. They love each other. They eat together. They grind together. They work together. Like, where I'm from, I didn't see a lot of that. You had, like, little bitty factions, little bitty families, little bitty groups. And if we all are part of the same umbrella, it shouldn't be like that. It should be, I want to see everybody eat. I want to see everybody do better. I don't want to see little JoJo on the corner with the strap and a bag in his pocket waiting to run from the police or run up to a car. That ain't what we're supposed to want for each other. You know what I'm saying? I think that's really, like, a lot of what destroyed the whole gang culture anyway. Because what it is now is comical.
Well,
I ain't
what
gonna
does
lie.
the gang? Well, the way the police operate, just like they operated when they took down the mafia, it's all about taking the head of the organization. And you know how it could be, man. It could be 50 dudes over there, and me and you know, if, man, 3 of them dudes is gone, them dudes are dead meat. If just 3 dudes leave, right? Because guys will be out there showing off their money and get everybody busted, everybody's in prison, or go do some reckless, silly stuff that they know they wouldn't do if, so-and-so that they had that type of respect for was around. They watch themselves, almost like you will with your father or your big brother, or, what I'm saying, somebody that you're an authority figure you represent, you respect, your uncle or aunt, whatever. And so it's the one thing, and just like you pointed out those negatives, let me give you the positives. The positives is that
I do need to hear him too. I ain't gonna lie, cause I'm on some gang shit. I'm super net. I've been a solo act my whole life, so I'd be kind of like, I ain't gonna lie.
Here's the thing I'm gonna say though, is that one thing it did do is that there are people in times that you had people that just had your back, and man, they had your back for no reason other than you was from XYZ, right? And because you was a part of this organization and you was in good standing, and they knew you was a type of dude that was gonna have their back too, and that's a type of camaraderie. When you now flip it to fighting this white supremacy thing, like, then tell me how many friends you got that you done been in the battle with fighting against the clan and fighting against the man.
Yeah, straight up.
Obviously, we had our guns pointed in the wrong direction, when we was in that mindset. But now, if you look at the effeminization of black men today, you're not even going to find black men that's willing to go out there and go fight a man. They want to go fight a woman, or maybe, you know what I'm saying, don't even really want to stand on their 10 and be a man. And so now who's going to protect the community? Who's going to protect these babies? Who's going to protect the women if there's not enough men out here who are really concerned with, like you said, be a man, take care of your family, worry about the collective. And once you look at the value system that we're passing to these kids, I remember rappers used to have nice chains and nice cars and shit, but the whole video, they wasn't counting money. Like, they actually had some acting that they did in the video. Now the whole video is literally showing you guns and money.
Man, listen, to add to that,
this is video every time. And back in our day, when you look at the gang culture, it was like people, even though gangbanging didn't make no sense, it still made sense, because every day you woke up, you was expected to go hustle and go earn and go get something to bring back to the table. Like, you know what I'm saying? People looking at you funny if it's like a week that went by and everybody been buying food, eating and cooking, and you ain't brought nothing to the table. Like, that don't look right. You know what I'm saying? And so it's that accountability factor that only happens in a family dynamic. And because so many people who come from gangs don't necessarily have that family dynamic where they're held accountable to their family, because if they were, a lot of them wouldn't be out there in the streets doing what they're doing, right? And so I think it's just that level of accountability that gangs had you to have. Like, you know what I'm saying? The dude was in prison and they seen him in the cell talking to the gay guy. Man, they finna be there and they're so quick. Hey, homie.
We know somebody like that.
Hey, blood. Yeah, we do. We do. But, people are going to be down there, and people are going to let you know that type of stuff is not accepted. You know what I mean? And there's an accountability factor for it. I just think so many people is out here operating in society today, and just who are they held accountable to? Not mommy and daddy. These people are not out here saying yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. So they don't have that type of direction. They ain't got that type of guidance.
So what I was gonna add to what you were saying about the music, because that is something that I was like really, really, really shouts out to Young Star, bro. I see you. Appreciate you tapping in, bro. One thing that I'm gonna say about the music, and this is really more of a question. Am I the only one that when I listen to music, I feel like the nigga rapping or singing is threatening me and talking about fucking my bitch? Is that because it's like everybody shoot you and fucking your bitch? Is that all rap is nowadays?
Right.
And doing dope?
What I'm gonna tell you what I realize rap music is when you go back and look at the minstrel show. Now this got so
deep I had to put it in the air again. Hold on. Go ahead, bro. My bad.
This is when you look at rap today is a minstrel show, right? And so when you look at it and you look at the bravado and the shirts off and the loud talking and the chest beating, but it's like we live in a society where an entire race of people got their foot squarely on our neck, and all of the yelling and shouting and shit we doing is at each other.
Yeah, facts.
Same thing as in the minstrel show that was created in 1830 when a white man named Thomas Dartmouth Rice, he actually was Jewish.
Hold on, the minstrel show, that's the blackface shit, right?
Blackface shit, right.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
so,
yeah.
White dude, a Jewish white dude, seen a slave, doing what they call the shuffle. Well, when they talk about shuffling, the reason why they say shuffling is, it's looked down upon like some Uncle Tom stuff, is because in order to dance as slaves, because the Catholic Church and the Church of England had outlawed dancing where you cross your feet. So you couldn't cross your foot in a dance, right? Because of religious reasons, right? And so, right. And so the enslaved black people, because they were raised under Christianity, they did not dance and cross their feet because this was looked down on by the church. Weirdest thing ever, right?
Yeah.
And so they thought it was some wickedness for you to dance and be crossing your feet and all that type of stuff. But you know who that's aimed at. That's the anti-blackness within, the religion of Christianity. But the bottom line is that when you look at sort of like this character called Zip Coon in the minstrel show, well, let me back up. Thomas Dartmouth Rice takes the clothes off of the slave who was doing this shuffle dance, puts some black cork on his face, goes and dances in front of a group of white people, and it was a hit. It was like
That's the beginning of the minstrel show.
Yeah, it's like the first nigga that thought of a podcast, and then now everybody got a podcast.
That's kind of how it is.
Right. And so that's what happened with Thomas Dartmouth Rice. He took the clothes off of the enslaved African and he created what is known as jumping Jim Crow. Because again, while you're shuffling, you can't dance. You really just jumping from foot to foot without crossing your feet. So they called him jumping Jim Crow. And so that's the reason why the segregation legislation was also called, that separate but equal other side of the train track colored water fountain. That's the reason why they called it Jim Crow. Just like they had made up the Jim Crow character, the Jim Crow character is essentially who white people wanted you to be. Again, I said it was created in 1830. Anybody who knows their history know black people were still enslaved for another 30 some odd years.
Yeah.
Right? So the 1860 census is 4 million enslaved people, 400,000 free black people. Right? So don't forget about them damn near 500,000 free blacks. But the point is that the music today resembles Zip Coon, who was one of the more famous coons, who he would like throw razors at black people, threaten to kill them, cut them, try to kill them, terrorize black people. But as soon as the white man would come in, he was, yes, sir, boss. Oh, yes, sir, boss. How's these?
Super friendly. Tom himself.
Shaking, hand shaking, right? Cutting himself, trying to hide the razor behind his back. He's stabbing himself. Why are you bleeding over there, Zip? Oh, it's nothing, boss. I was bleeding because I just love to see yous come in the room. Right? Listen, this is the level of subservience that Zip Coon would have when in the presence of white people. Now, let me take you back to the hood. What happens when a white man shows up with the police uniform? Everybody throws down. They'll throw down the precious dope that they'll kill you for and take off running from the police.
Yeah.
It's the exact same scene. It's like when the lights cut on and roaches leave. That's what happens when the 12 pulls up in the hood and everybody's at the trap doing their thing. People is hitting the fence. They call it getting in the woods.
Are you stupid, bro? This is like when the lights come off and the roaches leave. Everybody scatter. It's over with.
Everybody scatter. When the white man comes, this authority figure comes, just like in the minstrel shows, of which I have to remind you, there were no black people. These were all white people dressed up as black people.
That's what I was going to say too. Yeah.
Niggas was at work.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Niggas was at work, fam.
Yeah, because there wouldn't be no point of putting blackface on if you're black. You're already black.
Right. And so this is what I mean by when you're not a self-created people, this is the issue. When you're not a self-created people like quote unquote black people are not, when another people have literally created you, they've given you a religion, they've given you a language, they've given you a name, they've given you even the clothes that you like. When we like suits, the suits was built in, and that's from England, that's British, the white man made. Not to say don't wear no suit, but I'm just saying though, don't be too in love with it. Right? It's not from your culture, right? And so, when you look at who created the nigga, quote unquote, this rapper who's rapping, listen to what the rapper says out of his mouth. He's gonna say the name of some gay designers in Europe that probably got hella videos saying, F the niggas, like Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah, I don't give a damn if niggas wear my shit.
Gucci made a blackface shirt, a sweater. And so this is what the rapper says, or he's gonna talk about the Lamborghinis and Ferraris in Italy and France. And we know France is colonizing Haiti. We know that France has colonized so many people in Africa that the majority of people who speak French are African. The majority of French speakers in the world are African people. That's how much colonization France has done to African people, right? And so we will spend an exorbitant amount of money for stuff in France. But if France didn't have the natural resources coming out of the ground in Haiti and in Africa, France would be a third world country. So you have to think to yourself, you're buying a $79,000 purse from a people that they can't feed themselves off of what's under the ground where they at. How can they purse be worth $79,000? And second of all, why the hell do you care about a Birkin when you're from the part of the earth with the most nutrition and the most resources and the most, you could get that same $79,000 worth of seeds in Africa and make you a billionaire.
Facts.
You see?
Facts. That's kind of what Akon was talking about too.
But Akon taking money from the Chinese, so we can't even be, Akon disappointed me when I went and I ran the numbers on Akon. Akon had me thinking it was, some. Listen, we black people ain't got no friends. Like, we got white friends, like people and a couple groups of people. But as far as like organizations and corporations and governments that operate in this world with guns and armies and shit, we have not sat down at the table as black people and ironed it out. Not one piece of political legislation says that they're going to be fighting for us. So I wouldn't be expecting. So in that essence, we don't have any friends. So for us to try to build a city for black people where black people can thrive and flourish, how come it is every time we want to do something, somebody else gets rich? You just want to go kicking and go to the club, so you got to get the eyelashes and the weed from the Chinese man down the street. You see what I'm saying? I just wanted to look cute. I just wanted to do my thing. Why is it that when we just want to do our thing that everybody else benefits off of us just doing our thing, but when everybody else just does their thing, we do not?
Yeah, ain't no benefits. Still at the bottom of that ladder.
So, that was the thing about the whole rap shit, man, that, you know what I'm saying, really just, I had to turn that shit off, man. I was cutting my hair, to your point when you were talking about the music. The other day I was cutting my hair and I might have let the rap go for about a good hour and a half. You know what I'm saying? And when I listened to the music, I just realized.
Dang, boy, your head that big, it take that long, cut that big ass head, boy.
Yeah, man.
My shit a little bigger than yours. Don't tell me about 45, 30 minutes.
Listen,
and we got the waves cracking. Don't hate. Don't hate.
Yeah, they nice.
I've been working, man. In my age, I'm getting better with things. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No do-rag line. I see.
None of that.
But the point is what was I saying? No, I was talking about the rapping. So I was letting it go for like an hour, and every song that I heard was just, as a clinical psychologist and thinking about things from a clinical psychological perspective. And I've read so much books in clinical psychology, like I call myself a black psychologist, for real, seriously, and no joke.
Yeah.
That whatever a person hears repeatedly, it goes into your subconscious mind. And so if subconsciously, when you think about music and rap in general, and when you talk about this music and it's kill a nigga, shoot a nigga, beat a nigga, slap a nigga, kill a nigga, like subconsciously now you have ingested, and you have now taken that information inside of your body. Just like you asked me how I remember all of these different books, because I told you they went inside of me and it went from information to my inner formation, which means it's a part of me. I'll never forget that. So when a person who consumes this music, right, on that level and views that character, right, then it becomes them, because that's their inner formation. You can't ask this person who's listening to this music all day about politics. They'll tell you something like, man, politics ain't shit, man. Ain't nobody getting nothing out of politics now. They might be right? But they would be right like a broke clock is right twice a day. Not right because they would understand some dynamic whereby which that we ain't getting anything politically, right? And so we can't have people who are in our community that when the children are listening to this shit, like I was listening to it for an hour, bro, and it broke my heart that, and I'm watching these videos and everybody was tough and everybody had a gun and everybody had words. I mean, they so creative. They so creative now. They'll kill you and then smoke a pack of you and all of that, right? But nobody had no smoke for no white folk. Nobody had no smoke for no white folk, though.
Nigga ain't smoking out a damn police, but you smoking pookie. Niggas is crazy.
Not none. These people kicking our ass. Niggas be talking about racism and the man and racist, and they'll be quick to call a white person racist, but won't actually bust a grape for their race.
Yeah, straight up.
And they be mad talking about some Proud Boys or or Trump was a racist, or building a wall is racist, or man, listen, I done got so far gone, and we might have to end the podcast at this. They might just be mad at me. I've gotten to the point now where I get to looking at the most racist of white people, and I get it now. I truly understand why some of these racist ass white people are racist like they are.
You got to tell me, because I don't know.
Okay, listen.
I be thinking I'm a good nigga, and then all of a sudden people get to yelling at you and mad because you know more than them and all kinds of shit. Nigga be ready to whoop you, then I'm the bad guy.
Who's the most loyal part of the Democratic Party? Black people, right? Now let's look at what the Democratic Party is doing, not to black people or white people, just to America, right? When you start looking at Planned Parenthood, this is a eugenics program where it was to kill black babies. Bottom fucking line. Republicans don't fuck with it. They're Bible-thumping Christians. Now, they'll burn a cross in your nigga ass yard, but damn it, they read Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John. And they don't believe in no abortion, you see? And they're able to compartmentalize and justify, brutalizing black people, but at the same time, no, we don't believe in killing babies. But, obviously when you understand the racist premises, he's about the furtherance of seeing more white babies being born. So why would anybody who is about the furtherance of white people being born want to be for abortion, right?
Right.
And so it literally is an instrument meant specifically for black bodies and black people. And, we make the excuse that, well, where are the men going to step up and take care of them? It's not about stepping up, right? It's about understanding that in 1950s, 80 some odd % of black children had two parents in the home. It wasn't until we got with this whole voting and elections and we're going to let Martin Luther King and LBJ and JFK do it for us, did things seem to slip away. And the next thing you know, the black man ain't in the home because, well, we got a law here that says if she going to get the money to feed the kids, your ass is out. And so I thought the problem was racism. How do you allow another race of people to come in and then change your social dynamic and the dynamic of your family? You know what I mean? And so it's just, there's all these things that go into, kind of the making of like who we see when we're listening to these rappers speak, that, we've let the children be in control long enough. We've let the children be in control long enough. And it's just, it's just time that real men and real women, I don't give a shit what you used to do. I hope that you used to do something. So you know better now, and real men and real women got to really start standing up for real men and real women, because family, it's ugly out here when you look at what this Democratic Party is doing. Like now, you're not a man anymore, you're a cisgender. A woman's not a woman anymore, she's a cisgender. Again, no disrespect to my LGBT friends and fam, but let's just be real. These are political things. Like this is what they talk about in Congress. They don't talk about, bringing dollars back to the black community. They don't talk about bringing back all them Dunbars and Douglas high schools that got closed down during immigration and black students is out here underperforming everybody in America's education. Ain't nobody talking about that. Nobody's talking about the fact that black students is out here reading at an 18% proficiency rate, and we expect these children to somehow be dumb and fight white supremacy. How you gonna do that? We can't on one hand say that the police is racist and they're gonna kill you because you black. So we don't prepare in any other form of to fight this.
So question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you look at a racist white person and get it?
Okay, so what I'm saying is this. I'll give you a good example. Donald Trump with the whole Central Park jogging thing. A lot of people was like, that's why I couldn't stand behind Trump. That was racist. That was racist. All right, let's flip the script. It was a black woman in Central Park. It was alleged that 5 white men mugged, beat, and raped her. And 50 Cent or some rapper gets up there and says, hey, man, I got a bounty on their head, and puts a newspaper article out that says they need to bring the electric chair back for this type of shit. Black women all over the hood is going to be walking with their chest out, because that's called #protect black women, #protect women. Right? Anytime a man steps up for an innocent woman, or what we perceive to be an innocent woman who was brutally violated as this woman was, although now for people who want to bring the race factor into it, black people will look at it and see this is a white woman, and you'll completely cut off your whole,
antennas to it.
Your whole antennas to it. But you can't. Again, it's like they say, put yourself in another person's shoes. So let's put a black woman in Central Park, and 5 white dudes did it. We remember how you felt when they beat up Rodney King. You remember how they felt when they dragged that man Robert Byrd behind that. You remember how you felt when they killed Botham Jean and Ahmaud Arbery. We ain't said these people's names for nothing. So when those people got killed, we felt the type of way. So, but we just so heartless that we think that white people didn't feel the type of way, right? Sure they did. And so what we had was a white man who got a lot of money, quote unquote. He's a big shot in New York, quote unquote leader, right? With obviously political aspirations in the future and shit. And he stepped up, whether it was real or it was just a publicity stunt. At the end of the day, if it would have been somebody in the black community, we would have praised Bill Cosby or Will Smith or Eddie Murphy or somebody for bringing light to a black woman being abused. We would have said they was a hero. Now, of course, we know the Central Park Five was innocent, but Donald Trump was not a prosecutor. The prosecutor was dirty as fuck. Go do the homework on it. I guarantee people can't tell you who the damn prosecutor name is, but they can tell you about their situation. So I'm just using that as an example to show where, not saying he was right or wrong, but if you just flip the race of the victim to your race, you could be Chinese, Mexican, whoever. Think about your mother and your sisters. You know they can't defend themselves against no 5 dudes.
Yeah.
Like whoever, it really happened. And that's the point. And so when it comes to racist white people, what do they not want? Go try to date a racist white woman's daughter. What are you gonna say? Hey, you better get away from them. I'm gonna date my daughter.
Well, I know what that's like.
But it's a whole lot of brothers out there. Right. It's a whole lot of brothers out there, you know what I'm saying, don't want their daughters dating outside the race. They don't want them bringing home somebody who's not black. Do we call that racist? Or do we call that a black person who's dealt with racism enough to know that they might not want to have interracial children? That's a fair thing for that's not built for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Question though. Because a lot of people speak about, they say racist so fast or racism so fast. Racism is systematic, correct?
Yes, it's a group sport.
So what we would be talking about would be more along the lines of prejudice, right?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, black people fundamentally can't be racist, right? But you can be practitioners of this thing called racism, but you're not practicing it systemically, because when you look at what racism is, break it down right quick. There's a race. Let's just break the word down. Race is the root word of racism. Well, what's the race? The race was when the Pope said, "Hey, line of demarcation: Spain on this side, Portugal on this side." They got in their boats and they went out to develop the new world. That's why you see their colonies scattered all over the Americas, right? And so it was the Catholic Pope who gave the edict, which is literally like law in the church. And he said it was okay for them to go baptize these heathens, as he called black African people at that time. And so he legitimized slavery through the Catholic edict called the line of demarcation. So boom, racism. Anytime you use the suffix ism and you put it on a word, you just maintain the prevailing order of whatever that word is. It does not change what the word is. You know, you could be a player. That's playerism. Right? That's mean you doing player with everything. You smoke your cigarette, player. You open the door, player. You take the glove off, playerism, right? You know, all of that. And so
we could call it Ochoism.
Ochoism.
I just did something though. Y'all don't steal my shit. It's Ochoism. I'm just to copyright it tonight.
Cut it out.
They're gonna hate me, bro. Go ahead. My bad.
The thing is though, is that with the ism, is it just maintains the prevailing order of what's being said in front of it. And so with racism, what order would you be maintaining with the ism at the end of race? Well, we know what the race was, and now we know what did the race, end up in. Well, 96% of all the wealth in America was in the hands of white people at the end of the Civil War. 96%. So the ism in racism is the fact that we have a maldistribution of wealth in America based upon race, and race defines class largely in America, right? There are poor white people, but we know that class and race are synonymous in America. When you look at a poor white person, can't say it ain't never been no white president though. They can't say they can't be a president because they not white. They can't say they not the sheriff because of their race. Whereas a black person could literally say that and mean it because it's been written into laws. And so, racism is maintaining the order and that imbalance and that maldistribution of wealth, resources, etc., and power. And so to be a racist, a person who goes to college to work on your dentals is a dentist. A person who does art is an artist. So the ist suffix just means you're a practitioner of it to some degree. Maybe even proficient at it, right? And so A racist is somebody who we could say is proficient at maintaining the prevailing order, which is the imbalance. You see, and so when you look at a racist like that,
So
then
you
that
kind
makes
of
more.
can use it. You kind of can use it a little more vague than because the way it was explained to me, to be to be involved in racism or be racist, you would have to be of the dominant group that's
Yeah,
in
you would.
control that you get your liberty from.
Right. Because again, it's a group phenomenon. I can, I can say something racist to somebody. I could call Joe Rogan all kind of whatever, is disrespectful to his ethnic group or race, right? But
Not
I'm
calling
not
out Joe
stopping.
Rogan, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying we on a podcast, so we're gonna say it to the podcast.
Joe
G.
Rogan hear this shit, I'm gonna be like, hey nigga, listen.
Hey, let's
We ain't
talk. Let's
tripping
talk.
with you. Yeah, just chill
You
out.
going to
Go
you going to
tackle
commercial?
somebody, nigga.
Yeah, you gonna go to the backstage.
Yeah.
But the thing is that with just using Joe Rogan as an example, is if I disrespect him and call him a racial epithet, that's not practicing racism. But if a white person does it to me, it's practicing racism because while maldistributing the wealth in this country, that word was used as an instrument and a weapon against people who look like me. Right? A
Facts.
person can call somebody a diss word for being gay, but nobody literally stole the wealth of gay people while calling them that.
Facts.
Right? Now you could be discriminated against for a job because they don't want to have gay waiters at this restaurant. Now that is true, but it wouldn't be something that's historic or necessarily that they have built any wealth off of anti-gayness in America. So there's that difference there. But with the racist black person is just, you practicing. It's like robbing broke people. A black racist is just practicing. He's not stopping nobody.
Like robbing broke people.
Yeah, he's not stopping nobody from getting a job. He's not stopping anybody from getting no money because he's a racist black person. Like, we only control 1/2 of 1% of everything of value in America. We don't have enough resources to be judicious enough to be racist with it. The only thing that we can be racist with is the one thing we choose to not be racist with. And that, sir, is our dollar. But every other group of people is racist with their dollar.
Crazy. That's a big deal too. I don't think people understand how big of a deal that is. Like that's a big deal, bro. Like say for instance, I pursued an entrepreneurial situation and I elect to include this person, and this person. It is so hard in that circle of people to not have somebody sabotage. You know what I'm saying? And that goes into the whole, it makes it hard to trust black businesses, is the status quo that they say. Black business,
Right.
a lot of black businesses aren't ran correctly, such and such and such and such. But it's like the ones that are, we don't even give a chance. Oklahoma City right now, you got a bunch of people with clothing lines. The clothing line thing done went crazy. Everybody got a clothing line. And I'm not against that. I think that's cool. I think that's what's up. But the problem is like, people look, and it may just be here. I don't know if this is a worldwide thing. It may be. I don't know. I'm from Oklahoma. So people will be like, oh man, I knew him since high school. I ain't buying that. But then it turn around and go buy that Rockaware from somebody who really ain't no different.
Right, right.
Like, I would rather rock a leverage shirt, put it in their podcast shirt, R2 the dog shirt. I would feel more exclusive. It would give me pride to represent and rock something from where I'm from versus
that you know about.
Yeah, versus these other people, man. Somebody hit me up. I was talking to somebody. Huh?
You said the P word. And you said pride, right? And so pride is why you don't see, pride is the reason why you see so many young people having to speak so ill of another person. Like, you have to understand the level of weakness it is as a man for me to arrange a bunch of words to disrespect another man and wave guns in the air and, even to shoot and kill other men. Because at the end of the day, if I'm a black man and I don't understand, there's a whole nother war going on outside. You see what I'm saying? It's just you've got people who are completely out of position, and particularly in Oklahoma. One thing I learned once I started moving around out of Oklahoma is that we suffer from this thing called meritorious manumission, right? And so back
That
in
is a
slavery,
crazy word. One more time.
meritorious manumission. Meritorious means to earn. You get an award and say meritorious achievement. Manumission, I'm sure you've worked on enough transmissions to know that means release, right? That means some motion. Manumission means to release, move. And so the thing about meritorious manumission is that during 1705 and 1710 in Maryland, Virginia, to be able to combat the slave revolts, of which there were many, bloody, vicious ones, that they started to essentially come with a merit system. Kind of like in jail, they got trustees.
Yeah.
Well, they started
We'll
having,
give you a few liberties. You just do this work for us.
Exactly. Well, they actually began to give people whole freedom. And meritorious manumission means that you could earn your release from slavery. And how you could do it, one of the main ways was to tell on a slave revolt. So if there was the word that there was any slave revolt and you were the slave that gave massa, quote unquote, the word of the slave revolt and they called that rebellion, then, you were able to earn meritorious manumission. Now, I don't want to guess how many people got told, nigga, get your ass back out there and tell me the next time, too.
How about that cotton? Yeah.
How about that cotton? But many people actually did get released because of meritorious manumission. Because one thing about the system of white supremacy is that it takes a certain amount of people of color, a certain amount of black people to help the system, to perpetuate the system in order for the system to exist. White supremacy does not exist without the help in the hands of black people. Let me say that again. White supremacy does not exist or continue without the helping hands of black people. So what am I saying? Can black people end white supremacy tomorrow? Yes, we can.
It's gonna hurt,
Yes,
but yeah.
You have to put your Louis down, and you have to put your Richard Mille down, and you'll have to travel all over town to find somebody black to sell toilet paper, and,
or even invest in somebody black to sell toilet paper.
Right. You see what I'm saying? And so, but it can be done. And when you look at the contributions of black people and you look at what these people have achieved, they've literally, they have our stolen wealth and have parlayed it into the greatest empire in the history of the world. And so for anybody to sit here and want to fight with another black person, when I know that it's a whole race of people that have literally parlayed, and I'm not saying every white person, but I'm talking about them people in positions of power and shit that's continuing to, the Mary Fallons of the world and these people that abuse their elected positions and, deny people's parole and the freedom and, liberties and shit, and, keep crime rates high and keep the drugs flowing in our communities, knowing damn well that you can stop those drugs coming into our communities by stopping them at the damn border. It don't never have to come into my community for somebody in my community to go to jail for us to learn a lesson about drugs. If the government was doing their real job they're supposed to be doing, they would be keeping the drugs completely out of the country. But that doesn't benefit America. It only benefits America when the drugs are allowed to come in the country, because now you've got all of these other ways in which they're able to monetize the drug. You getting high off it. You know how much money they making out here with that rehab bullshit? Just ask somebody who's then got out on parole and see how much money they had to pay to stay out on parole just to pee in a cup every week. You know what I mean? And so these people are out here making all kind of dough off of not stopping the drugs at the border. And so, we just watched El Chapo get took down and, various other kingpins. Man, these people is out here creating multinational corporations. And again, it doesn't go nowhere without us. We the ones rapping about it. We do the advertisements, the infomercials for all the drugs. I don't even know about these drugs until I listen to the rappers.
Yeah, facts. Unless I was selling it. If I wasn't selling it, I found out all kind of new stuff.
I don't know anything about the prescription medication drugs, none of all that those shit, zines and means and leans and sets and gets and oxetines. I don't know nothing about that shit.
Yeah.
But I could tell you about the Saltzman family that actually owned a company called what was it called? Starts with a P. Pharma, Purdue Pharma, that actually invented OxyContin. and how OxyContin was a scam from the jump, right? And so it's a whole deep story behind how this man and his family literally owned the patent for OxyContin and have been making billions and billions and billions of dollars off of this drug, and nobody knows who they are. And these are the people who they've literally been, convicted for, convincing doctors to go in and start using opioids because they used to use method. They used to use methadone. What's it called? Methadone, or what they call it? What's the other stuff? Morphine. They used to use morphine, right? If you ever seen one of them,
boy, you know more than me. I ain't gonna lie. You know what we stuck to. I know what I know. I don't know all that other shit.
They used to use morphine on pain patients and shit, and so morphine was kind of associated when a person was gonna die. Kind of morphine, morbid, and so patients weren't. Doctors had a hard time prescribing morphine to people. Everything is about prescribing the drugs because people make money off of that shit. So, they switched to this thing called OxyContin, and, they lied about the drug. They talked about in commercials, said that less than 1% of people who use opiates become addicted. This is what they were saying as late as 1998 in commercials on TV, and lying to people and saying that in the studies they've done that less than 1% of the people become addicted to opioids as pain medication. And we know that's absolutely not fucking true.
Now you got people using it casually. Like everybody, it's like a large multitude of people addicted to that shit.
Perky's calling.
Yeah. Everybody popping them. Crazy. See, I'm one of them scary niggas. I'm even scary about food. Like, if I just ain't eating some type of shit. Like, some shit I'm just not fucking with. Like, sushi, I'm
not experimenting with all that new stuff. I never did eat a shrimp cup of soup.
Listen, man, tiramisu is a cake. I was scared of that motherfucker for like 4 months. I'm not touching that shit. I don't know what it is. Baby was like, ain't nothing in it.
You sound like a wide tiramisu sound like a wide receiver at LSU.
Yeah, something. You're the little homie from 84. You feel me? Like, I'm scared of this shit. But I ain't gonna lie, I ate it and it was great. It wasn't nothing but like cream and shit. But the name of it was enough for me to say, Man, they be trying a little sushi out. Look, I can look at the sushi and I can see it ain't raw, but my mind just ain't finna let me do it. Like it'd be like, not for you, and I say no, I'm cool.
With all of the weird name stuff, I'm not with.
Man, it was so hard for me to eat a crab leg. Bro, I'm so fucked up in the head. Listen, I'm so fucked up in the head. It traumatizes me to pull the meat out the crab leg. Like, traumatizes? Like, nigga, like, what if what if it was a human leg? I'm just saying, what if it's a human leg? We boiled all the meat out this motherfucker and was just pulling. You know what I'm saying?
You'd be Jeffrey Dahmer in that case.
Yeah, I'm just super skeptical.
Yeah, you'd be Jeffrey Dahmer.
Now listen, when I had some, I was like, this shit slapping. But I ain't gonna lie, it took about, I'm talking about, I think this might have been like a year or two ago. Bro, I'm just, shrimp, when I found out pretty much that a shrimp is a roach in the water, I said I'm good. A crustacean is a water insect.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I was like.
There's some good little insects.
Yeah, I see people like, nigga, you might as well take the water bug off the side of the wall.
Some of the bugs are good too, though.
Man, listen, you just ventured in different areas. I can't fuck with it.
Well, I'm just saying, though, we might need to start learning how to eat bugs.
I don't know who we is. I'll boil grass.
No, listen, I'm saying it's looking ugly out here. Supply chain, you got Joe Biden as your president. People can't even get anything in Colorado because they gave a truck driver 110 years for, a tragic accident that killed 4 people. But they literally gave a truck driver 110 years in Colorado. And like truck drivers ain't going to Colorado right now. So Merry Christmas in Colorado.
Can't get shit. You better get that shit off the plane.
Yeah, you getting it. It better come off of something with some gas in it.
Amazon better be jetting some shit. It's ugly.
It won't be coming off the shelf. That's what it won't be coming off of, unless it's the shelf. It's the shelf in the back of that Sprinter van. That's about the only shelf you about to get something up off of. Now, I want want to get back to the school thing though, because I do have something coming up on the 29th.
Now listen, after the school thing, we're gonna go ahead and shut down. I think we done killed them. It's a lot of information been spread in this, bro. This is the longest live stream I've ever done, and it's been the most interactive. Like, I got the little chat over here to where I can see it and stuff, man. That's why I keep shouting out people and stuff like that, man. They've been rocking with us. I'm talking about the whole time. Real talk. And I appreciate the love, y'all. Now, I think it was an issue with the link. Some people weren't able to tap into the stream. But I will tell you this, tomorrow the stream will be available for streaming, period. And I'll make sure to share Siik the link for those people who wasn't able to get in here, that was trying to get in here. Because I think it was a lot of people that was having trouble getting. That's like, if you see me look down or something on my phone ding, I've been getting messages like, why I can't get in? Why I can't get in? So
me too.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate everybody that tapped in.
We'll just run the views up when it go on.
Yeah, what? That's the only way. It's the only way. But yeah, go ahead and say what you were saying about the school.
Yeah, so Dayton, Ohio, man, going, there the 29th to go and start really getting our school geared up. We hoping to be open 2022, the fall semester. Now, obviously, we gonna be doing a lot of work, but we got to go in and kind of look and see. It's been shut down for 7 years. It was actually a school, a public school. Then it was a charter school. And believe it or not, the people who were running the school was running a scam on the state of Ohio. And they were over counting the attendance in order to get extra dollars for students that wasn't there. And they was pocketing the money.
Niggas sad, just can't keep it real. They always got to do some funny shit.
Yeah, man. Sad. And it was some, like a black charter school, right? So it was like 81% black students. So bottom line is that, we're going to get there 29th. I'll be there for New Year's. So, shout out to Dayton. If anybody happens to be watching this in Dayton, you guys can come check us out. We'll be at Bozak's on the 29th, 30th, I believe 30th. We'll be at Bozak's. I might be getting that wrong. But you could go to my Instagram and you could check the flyer out at King Siik, KINGSIIK. And you can check that flyer out for Bozak's. But the school is hopefully going to be up and running for the fall semester. And, anybody who's involved in the trades and wants to contribute anything, any ideas, any suggestions, because this is really grassroots. A lot of people, when you were having that conversation about black businesses, I wanted to, chime in on that too. And that's that when we see these large corporations, they lay off 50,000 people and we still call, Dodge a successful company. They just laid off 50,000 people's breadwinner. I don't know how successful that. You lay off 2 people in the hood, they're going to say you trash.
What?
Right? So the level of, critique that we have for black businesses has to change. And also in the white community, when they see businesses that don't have all the answers, people actually monetize that. It's called a business consultant. Rather than give a complaint to a black business owner, give them something, start you a business. Get you an LLC and start running around all the since black businesses ain't nothing, go around, make them something and make you some money. And so then your complaint isn't just you complaining, you actually be solving the problem. But, we're going to be up in Dayton, reaching out to the people in the community. I just want people to, have the opportunity to go to my IG, check out what we got going on. We also have a website. It's called We Are The Builders. We Are The Builders. And we're on Instagram at we_are the builders, and underscores in between all the words. We are the builders, but underscore in between each word. You can check us out over there. Give us a follow. Check out what we got going on. We'll be keeping people updated to the progress of, renovating the school. We got like 7.5 acres in the back side of the school. So we plan on doing some vertical farming. So we're going to be doing some real country boy shit out there, man. Training people on how to do all the trades and electrical, plumbing. So we'll be coming to Oklahoma soon. That's the goal, is to come back home, to bring something like that back home. Because it's, there's so much money, particularly if they pass this infrastructure bill. There's going to be so much money that's going to be flowing in the streets. And I'm sure you see the level of construction that's happening around Oklahoma City. And you see
everywhere. It's like the only thing hiring over $14 an hour around this motherfucker.
Right. And we're not on them site. So you can imagine how much money the GCs are making in the construction companies that are getting those contracts, that they're paying people the best wages, you know what I mean, just walking on the job site. So, I just suggest to people, look up your state's infrastructure budget and construction budget, see what the state's budget is, and see how much money black people in the construction industry are getting. And if you're somebody who has any technical training, man, start you an LLC. Get out there and put you a business together, because the government has been putting money out there in the economy for people to start these types of businesses, and nobody needs to do it more than we do.
Facts. You got any more social media handles you want to get to them?
Man, just at King Siik. Got the website, which is live.kingsiik.com. And you could just go to my Instagram and click my links, all my links on my Instagram at King Siik, and you can just find me at all those socials there.
Heck yeah, man. It's been a beautiful session, bro.
No
I
doubt.
appreciate you coming through, man. Like I said, it's a lot of people been in the chat interacting, man, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a lot of stuff that you said that people didn't know. And
Right.
my channel is one of the places where I want people like you to be able to speak your mind. Like, I don't censor stuff. Like, everything is fresh off the fly. Like I said, we don't hold no punches. You know what I'm saying? And it's important to have a place like that, especially being where we from. Because Oklahoma, you got a lot of people that'll jump on here, play what you want to hear, and then get off the thing, and then you just listen to a whole bunch of music that says the same corruptive stuff that we listen to every day, instead of hearing something positive that could be forward moving for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I definitely appreciate you coming in, sitting down with us.
No doubt, family.
All right, y'all. Check out Leverage Apparel. You know what I'm saying? My boy Flame, he got the clothing line. He doing shirts, he doing hoodies, he doing pants, he doing hats. If you need it done, he can get it done. So make sure you holler at M. Mason at Leverage Apparel. Also, shout out to Ziggy's for sponsoring this episode. We definitely appreciate the love. It is what it is. Big 8, King Siik, Put It in the Air podcast. We're signing off, y'all.
Signing off. All right. 405
Huh?
918 580.
580, baby.
Niggas ain't solid no more. Niggas ain't tryna make $1 no more. Same one flexing all hard for the gram. Be the ones to fold when the cops get close. Damn, bitches ain't solid no more. I ain't got time for a gold digging hoe. Same one saying that niggas ain't shit. Be the ones working on baby daddy number 4. Like damn, niggas ain't riding no more. The way I'm wrecking shouldn't be driving no more. Pedal to the metal, but the push it to the flow. You can call me anything besides a deadbeat and broke. Like damn, leverage Siik.